everybody.
Happy Friday, Burke.
Happy Friday indeed.
So, wow, we are doing some cool stuff today. I'm quite excited about. We got some code help from Steve Sanderson.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, this is exciting. And you've been doing nothing but Blazor lately. You've been coding.
Yeah, we talked about this. I'm probably going to be out of a job here pretty soon. I'm not doing my actual job anymore. I only do this.
Yeah, this is great.
It's not good. There's actual things I need to do. This is not actually a job.
This is like a long running like drama, Burke's descent into. Pretty soon you're just going to get the Blazor logo like tattooed on your head or something.
I know, it's getting worse and worse. I really like the ergonomics of Blazor a lot, but I don't like it when I have to interact with the page.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, because it wants to own the DOM, right? So it wants to like
exactly. Right. And you cannot touch it, which is what we're going to discover in today. And I'm just pulling up. I'm going to cheat because there's no way I'm going to remember how I did this. So I'm just pulling up some.
And you've been working on this for a while, and you so then Steve helped out with why aren't these DOM events firing and some stuff.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah, I got it mostly working, but then some strange behavior, which Steve called DOM corruption, which essentially what John just said, which is that Blazor owns the DOM. Okay, so if you manipulate the DOM in the browser, which is what you're doing when you drag and drop things around, and Blazor doesn't know about it, then you have changed the state in the browser from the state that's internal to Blazor. Mm-hmm. And it does not, and you'll get just wonky results. I forget what they call them in the docs, but it specifically says, don't do this. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what happened to me.
You did what it said not to do.
I did what it said not to do, but I thought Blazor would just re-render the DOM. I thought it would just re-render that fragment if I made the change to the model, but it does, but it doesn't re-render it.
It doesn't re-render it with your changes. It overwrites.
Well, it doesn't re-render from scratch. Like it re-renders the portion that changed, but not the whole thing, which I guess makes sense, right? You wouldn't want Blazor just blowing away entire components or recreating them every time there's a change. That would make your app rather slow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just trying to get my
cool. Okay.
Here.
Awesome.
And we're gonna
Kevin, Blazor noob. I think so. Different shows in the past have been at different states of preparedness and everything. We do flash this. This is live coding. However, I think this is something where people will actually learn some stuff, and this is some actual kind of working code we're getting to, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about Blazor in the summer when we started this, and now I know a little bit. Not very much.
So we are working on the URL list. We are converting a previous site that you and Cecil built using Vue, Azure Storage, Azure Front Door, some other stuff. It looks like this. You can log in. I use it a ton. I love this site. I have so many different URLs. So it works. It's worked in the past with Twitter, now known as X. And here's all my, you can see all my links. I've been early adopter, gone nuts. I use it all the time. So then we talked about this and we're like, hey, we need to update this. We'd like to work with more than just X. We also worked with, maybe GitHub or Facebook or other login stuff, and then update it to new technology. So we're using Blazor and Azure Static Web Apps and all the new stuff.
All the new stuff. That's right.
Yeah.
And we actually could, John, we could have just added those login providers to the existing app.
We could.
Problem was you didn't understand the API because you didn't write it.
Yeah.
And
we were in a weird state too, because some of the actual code in production didn't align to what was in GitHub.
Yeah, that was it.
And there was also some stuff where it was code that was written 4 or 5 years ago before static web app shipped as a product. And so that's the main thing, is that the architecture that sits behind this website is so overly complex for what it is, right? It's just a list. That's all it is.
And so that's always really bothered me. And so more than anything, I just want to update it to that new architecture, which is static
Yep.
web.
And it's a
But I
chance to learn some
thought,
stuff. Yep.
what's that?
It's
Sorry.
a chance to learn some stuff in public. Other people learn some stuff. They help teach us. We share what we're learning.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We like it.
Okay.
Friday's the best day. All right. So we're not doing an exception here. So sharing my screen, if you want to throw that up there.
Boom.
And I figure we'll start with the end state so I can show people what we're going to do.
Okay.
Where we're going to end up, and then we'll just try to end up there. So
pop us in the corner.
And I know I'm using a light theme. I've been having some like dizziness and disorientation lately, and my eyes are really struggling. So I've switched to a light theme to try to help with that.
You know, I mean, they say, you know, people like there's all this kind of back and forth. I kind of got way into the dark theme's the best theme, but white theme is supposed to be the most ergonomic, and they do tell us to use light theme for presenting is kind of a best practice because it's more.
It is more legible, yes. I don't think it's better for your eyes, but it's crisper. I can see it better.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all right. So let's take a look at we're going to go to the end state and work backwards so we can see what's like. So this is the one we put together for .NET Conf, right? We did one for Packing Light.
Nice. That was fun.
All right, so let's go here. This is the Blazor version, and this is just the front end. Yeah. But let's add a URL here.
I can't wait till we get that open graph stuff in. That really makes it look cool. Yeah.
All right, so here, what we're gonna do is we've made this so that we can reorder these like this, right? And then when we post this, this won't work. But what if we publish it? What we should see here is an order that matches this, right? So 4, 2, 1, 3, 4, 2, 1, 3. That's what we see.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah. So that's all we're doing. And the error here is because the API request failed.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and that's it.
Why did the API request fail? Is that something we need to?
Because the API is not running.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're just doing front end stuff again today. Just Blazor stuff today. Okay. All right, so this is Steve's branch, and we're going to merge Steve's branch so he gets the credit for the work that he did here, but we're going to go back to main and start from where we were last week and then work on top of that.
Okay.
I may need more coffee, you know.
You're welcome. You're welcome to run and grab coffee if you need.
Appreciate that. You're always so supportive, John. Most supportive person.
I mean, you're doing all the coding today, so.
Okay, so let's create a new branch and let's call it. Can you put an emoji?
You know,
will this work?
I don't know.
Apparently. So put a trash can because it's disposable. All right. Certainly that's like an anti-batter, right? I mean, I knew you could put in commitments.
Yeah.
Chat, put emojis in your branch names. That'd be funny. Okay, so let's start here with our okay, so let's go to the internet. We need something that will let us sort the list. Now, yes, chat, HTML5 does have a native drag and drop, but it is, as Steve put it, he said it is woefully inadequate. And the reason for that is it is not really supported across browsers. It doesn't work on iOS at all, right? And if it doesn't work on iOS, then it doesn't work. Because that's where we live in.
Probably meaning it doesn't work on Safari.
Yes, exactly. Right. And also like it's so limited in terms of the control you have over it. Like you can't style the drag. What do they call that? Proxy, whatever that thing's called. You can't style that thing at all. And so we're going to use a library called sortable JS instead. We do this with JavaScript.
So we got what is he chatting about? So we're chatting about setting up drag and drop in the app and making it so we can drag and drop things back and forth in a list. And we're figuring out how to make that work in Blazor. Hey, Sean, good to see you.
And you can see here, this is what we're going to do, right? This is the sortable library. It's really nice. Got really nice animation. It actually does use HTML5 drag and drop where it can, and it will fall back where it cannot.
I actually, when we first started this project, I was like, oh, how hard can it be? And I went and spent some time looking at this, and I was like, oh, this is hard, because like you said, the drag and drop API is very rudimentary. And then it's like getting it to look as nice as this does is hard, right? Because you've got to do the animation stuff. Like,
yeah, these JavaScript libraries are so nice because they abstract all this for you, and it's just settings, and so we want to leverage that. So, all right, so let's start by getting this. We're just going to get the whole sortable JS. So let's go to GitHub. And let's see if they've got a download somewhere. Maybe they have a CDN. A lot of times what I'll do is just go to their CDN. Let's see.
I love CDNs. I'm all about CDNs. I know everyone's moved to like npm install it and local builds, and we have a whole build process. I'm like, just CDN it,
Exactly. I love
do
it.
some dev on it.
But we're not going to use the CDN though. We're going to pull it in. I don't know. What should we do? We can use the CDN.
Either way. So you can do that, or you can download the min thing.
Which is what I was gonna. That's what I did before. I'm a little more comfortable doing that.
That's fine.
Because
then you can work offline.
All right, so we're gonna.
Yeah, Mads Christensen on Visual Studio Windows, the full Visual Studio. What do we call it? Full fat Visual Studio. He built an add-in that specifically does what you're doing here. You type in a JavaScript library, and it'll pull it from CDN and add it to your project.
Hey John, hold on. I got dogs barking at the door real quick. Just a second.
Get that coffee while you're out. Yeah, let me see if I can pull up this thing. So Mads Christofferson. And then it's like library. I haven't used it for a bit.
All right. So let's put this thing in the root, and then I'm going to make another folder here. I think I'm going to call it JavaScripts. Sortable. We're going to save it in this folder. Okay. And now we would just want to include it in our project, right? And I'm just going to put it in the index.
In www root, yeah.
In www root, exactly. So now we've got JavaScripts. I don't know if the VS Code will do this. Nope. It'd be cool if it did. Let's see here.
It doesn't do it?
No. Oh, that's true. It should be JS, not JavaScripts.
Yeah.
So what is our CSS? Okay, so I should be able to just hit it directly from JS / oh yeah, okay. It's not like this. Oh, whoops. I didn't close the tag. Here we go. Know what I'm doing, y'all. I promise. No, it's not readily apparent. Okay, so now let's look at our application here. Right, and so drag and drop shouldn't work. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it's not working. So here, just make sure that it's actually pulling in our sortable. You see sort? Yeah, sortable min right there. Cool. All right. So that's the first part. We've included the sortable. The next part is that we need to go through and we need to, what we want to do is create like a reusable sortable list. The reason that I want to do this is because I do want to break this out at some point as like its own library, John, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
And so I feel like doing it this way sets us up for that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So to do that, right now, in our components, we have this bundle item and bundle item editable. So if we look at this edit page, let's look at our edit page here. Let's close this. Close it. Out of here. Okay. So we have, it's like super not happy about stuff. But it does exist. I think it just needs to be reloaded.
Well, you need a space after that quote for one thing. Wait, no, you don't. That's weird.
Just reload it. The tokenization gets off sometimes. All right. So here, see, we have this like for each link. And so what we want instead is like this sortable list, which doesn't exist, right? This does not exist. And then we want to pass in this links list that we want to display, and each item needs to be sortable in there. So this is the abstraction we want to work with. And so inside of here, this is what we want. We want a sortable list, and then we want a sortable item, right? And then inside of the sortable item, this is where we'll put all of our markup. And in this case, it's bundle item editable, right? That's all it is. And then we've got to add some of the properties on there. But this is what we're trying to get to. This is the end state.
There's multiple sortable items though, right?
Right. Exactly. And so we'll take a look at how this works here. Let me just make sure I've done this correctly.
Yeah, and you got to close the sortable item. Wait, sortable list. It's / sortable list at the end.
Oh, yeah. So there's multiple of these, right? But the sortable list is responsible for rendering this. The way this is going to look is we're going to say the items here is going to be from our state container link bundle links. Right, so we're going to pass in the links, and this component's going to be responsible for iterating over them and displaying each one as a sortable item. Now, I'm not saying this is the best way to set this up. It's just how I've done it.
Yeah. So let me see. So Full asking, does this sortable compare? So I think that's good. Like, this is not sorting by this is user sorting or ordering. It's a user reorder of the list. It's not like sorting them for us based on an algorithm or something.
All right, so let's create this component here. So now this exists. Let me save this. Oh, in our sortable list, what we will do
Copilot's like, please let me type code for you.
Sortable, yeah, Copilot. Oh man, it didn't work. I was trying to, with Emmett, you're supposed to be able to do this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there he goes. Got it. That's
yeah.
It. So we're going to create a div that's going to act as like the wrapper. This is the div that we're going to pass to the JavaScript.
Okay.
You need an HTML element to give it so that it knows what to turn into a sortable list. And then inside of here, this is where we're going to iterate. But before we can iterate, we need something to iterate over, right? So if you remember, we called it items. So we're going to have a parameter. And we're going to call it, it's going to be, did it get it? Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Except for we're not going to do this. Steve, well, no, the docs do this. I don't know why. I don't know why this is the case, but this gets rid of that error, right? Actually, we don't want, I just want just put the namespace at the top.
Oh, the whole null thing.
Yeah. So this will fix this.
I mean, you can do that or you can initialize it. So you can say equals blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I guess when I was looking up how to make reusable components, this is how they do it in the docs. And so
all right.
I don't know why. I'm just doing it the same way.
Okay.
All right, so we've got our items, and now we can iterate over these. So for each item, come on, Copilot, what are you going to give me? This isn't quite what I want. It's close. So inside of here, what we want to do is display essentially that bundle item editable. Remember, because we're passing it in here. So we want to display it. We actually want to render it here. So
yeah,
how do
is
we
that
do
a render fragment?
It is a render fragment. That is exactly right. So what we're going to do here is add another parameter that is a render fragment. Did it get it? No. On. Oh, where's my prop tab?
Like dueling.
Yo, if you can't prop tab, what's the point? So render fragment, we're going to do a render fragment here, and it is going to be of type link. It's going to be sortable item.
And so you need the using to bring in the link.
Yeah. And the reason why we do this is because we need to be able to pass the link down. I think this is, why doesn't it just put it at the top?
Yeah.
This is like a setting or something.
All right.
Right. So now what we want to do here is we're going to add an HTML element because we need to style this a little bit, and we need to give it a key as well. So what we want to do here is we're just going to have a div class of link item, and then for the for loop, we want to have a key, and what we're going to do is we're going to use the item. Doesn't know what item is. Item in items. Cannot use local. It is declared right here.
That's.
I feel like it's all messed up now. It doesn't know.
Sure
It can't.
Everything. It's just like, no, I can't. I can't even.
Can't do it. Can't deal. So what is... Okay, so here, item, and you can see like item ID. Item is what? What is item? Item is of type string. Var item and items. Item is not a list of string.
There you go.
Okay. Link. There we go.
Now
we need an ID. Yeah. There we go. So
yeah. So that key thing's really, like, my experience with this. That's when you want to tell it like that. Then if you're updating things or moving things around or whatever, it's able to track like what they connect to.
Exactly. Right. It's a unique identifier for each item in the for loop. And this is recommended and is the case for React and Vue and pretty much everything else you might do. All right. So then in our shared library, in our link, the ID doesn't actually have a value. Right. And so what I want to do here is give it a new GUID because it doesn't matter what the ID is. It just needs to be something unique.
Yeah. And I've actually done that in a different. We've gone back and forth on this. I think it needs to be set somewhere. I guess that's fine.
We'll set it here, and if we have to change it later, maybe we could do that.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
It doesn't hurt to always have it, and then when you pass it to the server, it's like it's already been assigned.
It's already there. Exactly. Yeah.
And so question here isn't a GUID kind of big? We actually are going to need a GUID because that's going to be, that's what Cosmos saves it as.
Yeah. If we don't pass it, Cosmos will create it anyway. So we're going to get it no matter what we want to do.
And Cosmos is geo-replicated and distributed and all that stuff. So it's using GUIDs for its own sanity.
So here, what we're going to do next is we're going to check and make sure that our sortable item is not equal to null. So this is kind of right. I kind of want this. I want this. Sortable item is not equal to null. But actually, we don't have a sortable item yet. We need to create that. So we do. It's our render fragment, right?
Oh, right. So you can set that, right?
Yeah, we should be able to. So if sortable item is not null, take all that. And then we'll, here, this is pretty easy. We're just going to render out the sortable item with, yeah, we're just going to render the item, right? Yeah.
Right.
So let's recap what's happening here for me, John.
Okay, well, so you've created a component. You are passing in a list of items, and then it's iterating through, and it's writing them out if they're not null, which it is kind of weird. Why wouldn't they be? Why would they be null? But
I don't know. Again, this is what the docs do, so I'm doing it too.
Okay, yeah, we expect it to always be non-null, and then it's just going to iterate, and when it does, it writes out the render fragment. And what's cool with the render fragment thing is that you're passing in a block of HTML, so it's just going to write that out.
Exactly. All right, so let's make sure this actually works, right? So ideally, this should just work. It's not gonna. I just want to make sure the thing actually renders on the page first.
Okay. So okay, yeah.
And then this new link here, because I believe, remember we said it was of type link. And so the context then, let me go back here. We said that the render fragment is of type link. Okay. So the context then is link and it gets passed down, which means that we can use it here.
Okay. So context means like the model type. Is that right?
That something like that. Yes. Okay. And I wish I could explain that better, but it's of type link, so we can reference it down here in the bundle item.
Okay.
All right. So let's see if this renders. Make sure I didn't get a rude edit. Yes, I did. Yeah, I'm learning.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, that's what we need. We need a VS Code extension that when you get a rude edit, it like flashes a little light somewhere or something.
Oh, we got 2. That's an interesting development.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Well, you had 1 and 2. Oh no. Whoa.
What's happening? Let me consult the. I'm consulting.
I'm trying to move around it. There we go.
Oh, because we never removed the original code.
Oh, all right.
Problem solved. So now, yeah. And then, all right. So this is working, right? We've created this reusable component.
Handy.
Render fragments.
Yep.
Good. All right. So now we need to make it sortable. So now things start to get interesting. So we need to initialize the JavaScript that's going to do this from this file.
Oh, hi, Layla.
And we need to pass. We need the JavaScript to be able to call back into this file to actually reorder the list. The JavaScript is going to pass back the old index, right? The index that the item was at before and where it got dropped.
I didn't pay close attention to it. Did you put the JavaScript library reference in the root of the whole thing?
Yeah, right here.
But where in HTML did you link that in?
Oh, here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's literally in the HTML, right?
Which I guess it's a small enough library because you can also like put it just in the pages that are sortable.
You can, right? And so that's one of the questions we need to like, how could this be improved?
Sure, but it's like make it work and then make it work better.
Right. But for most people, you know, if they don't ever see this page, they shouldn't have to load this script. But John, we actually have a bigger problem than that we need to address at some point, which is that if you go to like, let's see, if you do this, right, which most people are going to do, You don't need to load up WebAssembly and the whole project to see this page. You don't need all that.
Right.
And so we're forcing a ton of bits on people that they don't need. And so at some point we need to refactor this page as like a static page that does a simple JavaScript call.
Yeah, and so we can do that. There's also ways to server render stuff, which we could look at too.
With static web apps?
I think so. I'm not certain.
Yeah, I've thought about different ways to do this, but I think the easiest way is to just have a static file because all this is, y'all, is a single fetch to the API. That's it.
Yeah.
It's very, very simple. All right. Tangent. We're off the tangent. All right. So let's do JavaScript. All right. Coming over here. What extension is that? It's like CSS. I'm going to turn that off. Alt.
What is that? It's hiding the class names?
Collapses CSS. Yeah, because if you use something like
Tailwind.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's for. It is an extension specifically for, it's not called Tailwind, but
but it's,
I forget what it's called. I find it.
I'm one of the few non-believers in Tailwind. Like, I get that it's productive, but it's just,
it's fine. I built stuff with it. I built stuff without it. It wouldn't be my go-to, but I don't have like religious hang-ups with it. I think that's silly. Okay.
Oh gosh. What is Tailwind?
Tailwind is a CSS framework where you don't literally everything is a class. So like if you want padding,
it's utility class based, right? So you have utility classes that do everything. And instead of components, you say like the same way Bootstrap has a few of these, like where you add margin or you add padding or whatever. Tailwind is all that. And so then you end up with classes that are this is what.
Right. Max, flex. Match public code.
My first reaction to this was this looks very much like the style attribute in HTML. And then I said something about that on Twitter once, and that summoned the Tailwind like zealots, and my Twitter, but I almost shut off my Twitter. Like, it was just ridiculous. They were like,
people that like it really like it.
Really like it. It's very productive. It's just I like CSS as a style sheet language, and you create like classes and then you write semantic. I bought into the whole semantic HTML thing back in the day, and it's probably not usable anymore, but I still like it.
Yeah, we're showing our age now, right?
Yeah.
What is that? Unobtrusive JavaScript or something?
So it's true. Layla says there are ways you can do semantic stuff with it. You can wrap classes and custom classes. There's ways also, Rob Connery has shown me stuff where you can like write, like really clean stuff, and it expands out into like you can build bundlers. There's all these ways to do it. Yeah.
All right. So we'll leave John to fight with the
I've made my peace. People love it and it works for them, and I'm happy for them. And
right,
and we use it actually on the .NET website, and I've worked with it there, and it's great.
We're going to need our state container. So we're going to get that. And then we really should be doing this, which is we don't do this a lot, but this right here, so that like if the state changes, the page changes. Like, I don't understand why Blazor updates sometimes and sometimes it doesn't, but I've gotten into the habit of just doing this.
Yeah.
So that I know that it will.
I think it goes way back to the thing you mentioned earlier, where it's like it owns the DOM. And so it's tracking all the changes, and you know what I mean? So that whole status change tells it, hey, I updated something you may not know about. Go update your books. So like go back and check everything. And update your DOM based on everything, and so.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So now we want to like it kind of.
Whoa.
So basically, after the thing is rendered, we want it to load a JavaScript file. So
Okay.
this is it. We're just because we only want to load it once. We're saying if this is the first render of this page, we're going to load a JavaScript file. But we're not going to load. So the sortable is already included. We need to write some custom JavaScript to pull this off.
You're not telling it to load it. You're telling it to invoke it, right?
But it loads it. So
Okay.
yes, and it's actually it needs to be invoke async, and we'll fix this in a minute. But before we do that, let's create this JavaScript that we need. And again, there's probably better ways to do this, but what I've done is created a main.js file here, and I'm just doing things here. And I'm going to show you an old trick because the JavaScript that we're loading, really it should be scoped to just this component. So the component knows about it, but the application does not.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% sure how to do that. So we're going to do it this way. And then maybe at some point we can come back. When you make this into a component, you can fix all this, John.
Okay.
Exciting times for you ahead.
I'll put it on the list.
All right. So what we're going to do here is we want this JavaScript to be available because we're going to include this main JS in the page, right? So let's just do that. Can Copilot do it? Does it know? Close enough.
Yeah.
Right, so it's going to get loaded no matter what. There's not a lot of it, so it doesn't really matter. So what we want to do is we're going to attach to the window object our own namespace called the URL list. And what this means is we can put stuff in here, like functions, variables, and stuff that we can reference globally without polluting the window. Right? We don't want to just attach stuff to the window because then we're just polluting the global namespace. You're asking for trouble. But we know that there will never, ever be a JavaScript window API called the URL list.
Right.
So we're safe doing this.
You're pretty safe. That is something that bites people, though. Like
it does, but so this is the safe way to do it is to create this namespace that's pretty specific and like, right? Like this is never, ever, ever, ever going to be a thing. I mean, right? We're going to put our sortable code here. And what we're just going to have an init method, right? And this is what we're going to call, and we're going to pass the ID of the HTML element that we want to initialize the sortable on. And then we're going to pass in our razor component. We're actually going to pass in that sortable list component so that we can call methods on it from JavaScript. And then we're going to do a new sortable. And this is part of the sortable JS. This is just the sortable JS API, right? With the ID we passed in. And then, yeah, we can kind of stop there for the moment. We'll come back to this. Okay. This is like all we actually need to do. What? What's wrong? What don't you like?
No, it's all good. There are a few good comments here. First of all, well, this one, Chris Saney has a great drag and drop guide. And I actually looked at that early on, and he has a great blog post and a library, and basically he's wrapping HTML5 drag and drop. And we talked about that a little earlier on, like that gets us part of the way there, but HTML5 drag and drop doesn't work on iOS, doesn't have these fancy animations, and sortable is awesome. So this is great. We're basically integrating with an existing thing that works great. It took me a second to catch up with you here, but I think this is the right way to go. Another question, why not TypeScript?
Because why?
Yeah. So my thought here is we're just writing some integration JavaScript that's just linking over. And if we did do TypeScript, we also then have to have a build step and all that. This is pretty simple.
Here, this is so one-off. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But the original application that's written in Vue is written in TypeScript, right? So in that case, I did use it but for me, like if you're just going to write a one-off script, it doesn't make any sense. but I'm up to being told why that's not right.
My high level thought, and I've written very little TypeScript and stuff, but is that it's all about it, you get most of the benefit off of it when you're using types, and like where you've got to like bind to different types and all that kind of stuff. And so if you're using interfaces and types and stuff, it can really save you a lot of typos. But
This is true. Yeah, we're not doing a lot here, though.
Little code here. So.
Okay, so the only other thing I added is that I don't want people to be able to just grab the whole thing and drag it, because there are text boxes in there that you can edit. And if that was the case, when you tried to like click text and drag to highlight it, it would drag the element, which you don't want. Right? So we have a drag handle. And if we go to our bundle item editable, it's this thing right here, right? And I believe we can add it to the whole column. Link drag handle. What did I call it? Drag handle. Just going to add this class. And that's what I called it. Really don't need an additional class. That's kind of silly. Just use this one. It's already there. Okay, so that's the handle. You can only drag if we click and drag from there. Okay. So now we need to call this JavaScript, which we're doing here. So we're going to invoke this thing. And what we're going to pass in, this is what we're going to do. So, and this is where Steve comes in. So because it's of type object, and this part I don't understand.
Yeah.
I think we're just basically saying like it's generic.
Yeah.
That one I don't understand, but we're going to pass in what we want to call in that little script. So if you remember, it was called the URL list, right? Then we called it sortable.
Oh.
And we called it init, right? So it's going to call this function when it, as soon as it pulls in the JavaScript, as soon as it pulls this, well, it's not going to pull this in. It's just, you're right. It's just going to invoke it. Mm-hmm. You're right. So it's going to invoke this. And then remember, we want to pass in the ID.
Yeah.
Of the thing we want to make. And this is so that we can make this a little more generic. We could hard code this in as well. And then lastly, we need to pass in a reference to this file. So how do we do that? So what we need is a reference. And this is how Steve did it. So it's a .NET object reference, right? It is of type sortable list. And he just calls it self-reference. It's just a reference to this component. That's all it is. Right? And then we're going to pass that to this right here. Let me just make sure I've done that correctly. Oh, he does. Interesting. So he does this. I guess. Oh, you have to create it.
Okay. This is all magic. I don't know. Was this, so this was code that Steve wrote. Did you see stuff about this in the docs?
About doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Passing the, yeah. So if you go to the interop docs, this is in there. And I had this before. I called it something else, but I got at least this far. And what is the problem here? JS runtime. First of all, where's our runtime?
Do you need a using?
Oh, I just called it JS.
Layla's asking, is it like a callback? I don't think so. It's more like a utility that interops in. It invokes. It's like a, way back in the day, like a DLL import or, right?
What's this thing here? It's part of the interop.
It allows it to, yeah, okay. So I guess it's not a callback, but it allows interop back and forth. It's two-way interop, right? So you're basically saying like JavaScript do this thing, and if you need to interop and pass things back to me, here's how to find me.
Yes, it allows JavaScript to talk to .NET across whatever bridge they have that they built, right? That's the interop.
Yeah.
And this stuff is tricky, right? Like this is just hard to figure out. It's not complicated when you see it, but it's complicated when you have to do it.
You know,
when you're trying to figure out.
I wish, like, Blazor is invoking this thing, and I don't know technically how it would work, or what. I'm sure there's reasons why it can't, but it feels like Blazor could just do that for me. Like, basically, I'm calling into JavaScript, it could pass the reference. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it could just work.
It could create its own reference
call
and just pass it. Yeah.
Okay, so if that's all we did, let's check and make sure that our files are being loaded. So we have sortable in main, and then if we've done this correctly, this thing should be sortable. And you can see that it is. It's a little goofy, but right, like the UI isn't great.
Oh, because it's not moving the thing underneath when you move it and stuff.
Exactly. Right. So this is like the HTML5. This is what HTML5 drag and drop looks like. See how it's like a ghosty item here? And you can't change this. You can't style it. This is not ideal. Okay.
Yeah, this goes to some of, like, Janisku's mentioning some other sortables. I did spend some time looking at other Blazor sortables. They all kind of either are expensive components, or they're things that wrap on top of that HTML5 drag and drop, which have those problems like you're showing there. They don't.
So to style this, we actually have to override and turn off the HTML5. Okay. And to do that, we're going to force the fallback and let JavaScript handle this. And this should give us some better behavior, and then we're going to style it here in just a second. But if we force the fallback, what do we get? See how it's a little better? Like, it's still see-through, but we can style this thing now. And so the way that sortable JS works is that you have these, it attaches classes to these things that you can then style. And this is just part of their docs. But we need a CSS class, some CSS rather. So we're gonna have sortable item.razor.css, and then in that we're gonna style the sortable ghost, okay, which is the thing that you're dragging over. So we're gonna set that visibility to hidden. If you do this, assuming that it reloads, it does not. So I believe, if I remember correctly, the scope CSS file sortable item razor.css was defined but not associated. Sortable list. My bad.
Oh, right.
If that'll work.
It's still showing the timing.
So see, now it moves.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So right? This is what you're going for, and I like that. Yeah.
Right. This is the behavior we want. So we're actually really close. The last thing we need to do is style the fallback, and the fallback is that item that we're moving around. So it's sortable fallback. We're going to set the opacity to 1. And we're going to, it's Friday, so import your rate of freedom. I actually don't know if you need this, but I feel like I've got it there. I feel like it's there for a reason. Yeah, it's see, the opacity is still not.
It's not. You got to be important.
Yeah.
Or figure out what else is overriding that. But since it's
but now it should be, yeah. So now, right. So this is the behavior we want. We've got it. And the delete should still work, and it does, right? Yeah. So I mean,
other cases with drag and drop, I can see being able to use HTML5 drag and drop with the caveat that it won't work on Safari. But like for this, like, you want it to be at least as good as the previous app, and it's
exactly. I'm being very demanding about this, and I'm already giving up the fact that you can move it outside of the draggable bounds, which sortable doesn't support this. But like the other one, can I do like the original? Yes, it I forgot about this. We fixed this, and it's so much better. Shouldn't just be putting in random .coms. That's dangerous. But like in this one, you can only move up and down, right? Like, see, you can't go out of the bounds, which I really liked. And see, the animation is super smooth. So this one's
better.
not quite as good, but man, it's close.
Yeah.
You know, I think we could change the animation there though and make it a little bit.
Yeah.
You can tweak this actually.
Yeah. What are the settings in sortable?
So animation, yeah, is 150. Make it a little slower. That work? That's a little better, right? This is what we're looking for here.
Yeah. Are there other fancy settings in sortable? I guess we don't.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. If you look here, these are all the settings that you can have.
Wow.
Whoa. Where is it? Where's the JavaScript API? ... It's down here somewhere. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Oh, this is the view draggable.
Oh.
What? Sortable. Here we go. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Big time would be if we contributed. See how they have the view and other ones contributing a JavaScript thing to the sortable library. That would be
yes. Yeah, you could do that. Some of these, like, I don't know, like drag over bubble. I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
I don't know what these other things are. And hold on, I need a bio break.
Class. Oh yeah.
Direction horizontal. What if I change this to direction vertical?
Burke, there are easing functions.
There are?
Yeah.
Easing. Oh yeah. For default, see easings.net for examples.
Oh my gosh.
So we can do all kinds of cool stuff with this, man. I mean, really.
Easing is such a, like, when you way back in the day, I did stuff with Silverlight, and when you like tweak the easings, it's like things get so pretty.
Ease out back. Oh, it like goes down.
Wow.
Ease out bounce.
I mean, it kind of doesn't. I don't know that we need easing on this because you're manually dragging and dropping stuff. So you kind of want it to move where you move, but I guess that might be the easing for the stuff behind.
Yes, that's the easing for the stuff behind. I mean, so we could change this, but we can mess around with it. Might make it look cool. But so yeah, I mean, this is the magic of JavaScript, right? Is that
there's a great library for it.
Yeah, you have so much control over the interface. All right. So now, I mean, we haven't really done the hard part yet, which is like call back and actually do the work. So
right. We need to now update the list.
All right, yes, but I have had too much water and I need to use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay. Gosh. Well, I can fill for a second because one neat thing that Janisku brought up was, what about Quick Grid? And I will show that. That's kind of a neat. It doesn't apply here, but it is a cool thing. Quick Grid is a library that they built for Blazor. And it's pretty neat, like grid library. Yeah. So this is a quick and dirty grid, but they have some nice stuff. Like, for instance, they've got like virtualizing is pretty neat. So this is an example that's loading 22,000 results, and it pages them in, so it only loads them on demand and stuff. So that's pretty neat. And then styling, they took the opportunity to use Comic Sans, which is neat. How many columns? I don't know that there's a limit, honestly. It's it's a wrapper on top of a table, an HTML table. So honestly, I bet there will be no problem with 200. And it has all these different data sources. Of course, you can do API callbacks, but works with like in memory and all kinds of things. So this is pretty neat. This is also they did a lot of stuff where they did some optimization for it. Like I talked to Steve once and I was like, hey, we should like show this an example. And he's like, we hyper optimized it to be like really performant and stuff. It's very specialized at what it does.
Hey, I'm back.
All right.
I can't even make it through the hour. I'm trying to stay hydrated, y'all. All right.
Burke, I was showing off Blazor Quick Grid. I don't know if you've seen this. This does not apply for what we're doing, but this is a component that they built that's like a grid, and it's just like it's very like just a nice simple grid component, and you can hook it up to different data sources. It has virtualizing, paging, filtering, so yeah, pretty neat.
Oh, it's like a data grid.
It is like a data grid. Here, so you can do I don't know what I did wrong. Oh, because those all have B. It filtered them. X, Y. Yeah, pretty neat. Okay, I will return back to your screen, I guess.
What is that? ASP.NET GitHub. I see, like we could put our sortable up here. Sortable for Blazor.
Oh, there you go.
Just steal their design. Okay.
I guess back to your screen. Here we go.
All right, let's call some stuff.
Yeah.
So we need to call from the JavaScript back to, let's go to our main file here. Oh, wait. It's great. Oh, we need something to call. So we want this JS invocable. We have to decorate it like this so that it knows that it can do that. And then we're going to have a drop method that we're going to handle. So for here, this is drop, right? And it's going to pass us the old index and the new index. And this is the sortable library is going to do this. Okay. That's just what the event does. And if you go back here to, let's see, to this documentation, I'm sorry about the scrolling, but you'll see like right here, we're going to use the on update, right? And the old index and new index are here, right? It passes this right here on the on update, which is what we're going to use. Okay. So heading back, what we want to do then is reorder the links. Now we can do that here, or we can do it in the state container. And I've sort of taken to doing these things in the state container. I don't know if that's right. Like if I'm mutating the state.
Oh, going through the state container.
Exactly. So I'm not deleting. I'm not. And really, we should be adding things here so that all mutation happens
through the state container. Then we start getting closer and closer to using like a Redux style. And there are some more advanced like state management things. Which reminds me another thing, we're going to work with local storage at some point too.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll want to sync to local storage.
Okay, so here is, we're going to reorder links. Here's the logic for doing that. So what he did it a little differently than I did. So what he did was he first set a reference to this links, and then he gets the item to move from, let's see. Oh, from so he's got it old. So what he did is move from index, which I think is probably better naming, right?
Yeah. Move to index.
Right.
All right.
And Copilot will help us out again. There we go. So he's
Mhm.
getting the item from the old index, and then he's going to remove it.
That's I would think I would think to move the new item. Well, I guess it works.
And then what he does is something quite interesting where he says if move to index is less than links.count,
Mm-hmm. Put it to the
then
end.
I haven't looked at this, so I'm not sure why he's doing this, but he inserts, otherwise he adds. So I think basically this puts it at the end of the list.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. This handles the last item bug where you can't drop it as the last item.
Yeah. And I think also probably that is more efficient because add, it doesn't have to shuffle things around, right? Okay.
Right. And we're going to notify that the state has changed. But yeah, I'm almost positive this handles the case where you can't drop it as the last item, which I saw everywhere. A lot of folks are having this problem. All right, so we just need to call this thing from our sortable list. So sortable list. Sorry, bear with me. Reorder links. That. All right. This is our drop. We're just going to call the state container dot reorder links. Old index, new index. Boom. So easy. It's so easy.
Wow.
All right. So now we get to call this thing. So we're going to use the on update method. We talked about that. On update. And I had gotten this far by the time I got to Steve. He fixed it. So we'll start with the broken state and then we'll show what he does to fix that. So to call that drop method, it's fairly easy, right? We just invoke method async. It's going to do so interesting. He grabs, what is the difference between old draggable index? I don't know what the difference between these is. I mean, the parent is the same in our case, so I don't think it matters. But if the parent was different, it would matter, which I think is what he's setting us up for here. In other words, like if you're dragging from one box to another box, the parents are different. Right? If you wanted to handle that, are you still there, John? You want to handle that case? Okay.
I guess I got a phone call.
All right, go take that phone call. All right, y'all. So we got
they're all
the old
now.
draggable index and the new draggable index. We're passing new draggable index. Okay, so that's what we're passing to our sortable. Excuse me, passing back to this drop method here. And let's go ahead and do this. Like, let's just no.
Nice.
All right, so let's just like log this out so we can make sure this is actually being called. And then let me make sure. Okay, we look good. Let's just make sure that this is actually all copacetic because we've made a lot of changes. So now what should we see when we drop? We should see a console write line saying that the drop occurred, logging out the index.
We did not.
Oh, whoops. We called it something else. There we go. Bug. I meant to do that. All in the name of education. All right, here we go. Bam. All right. Exciting. So now the problem though is that we've called the reorder, right? So we have 2.com and 1.com. But watch this. If I put in 3.com, right, and then 4.com. Now watch what happens. I'm going to reorder these. And do you see what happened?
Wait, I didn't honestly.
So watch, I'm going to move 3.
3.
I'm going to move it here. Now watch.
2, 3, 1, 4. 2, 4, 3, 1. What's going on?
Exactly. Right. So this is as far as I got. And I was like, I don't understand. And so this is where Steve was like,
okay.
Sortable is actually mutating the DOM. And in order to make this work, we need to tell the sortable, cancel this whole operation and let Blazor handle it. Yes. So we're literally going to cancel the job. So to do that.
Oh, I see. So you're saying, thanks a lot, draggable or sortable, whatever. You made a very pretty drag event and we'll handle the drop from here.
Exactly. Thank you for handling only what people can see.
Yeah.
So it's event.item.remove. And again, you'd have to get this from the sortable. So it's basically here, the item. Yeah. So this is the dragged HTML element. We're removing it. Okay. And then we're going to put it back to where it was before. Right? And these are just DOM APIs. Okay, that's all they are. We're literally moving things back.
Wait, event.to.insert before, is that real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's from MDN, right? So these are just DOM APIs that we're calling now. And we're going to put the item and we're going to move it to the old index.
Okay. So now we get kind of the best of both worlds a little bit. We get the nice UI handling of the sortable library, and then we kind of go back to Blazor, which is capable of managing the list just fine.
Right. So we're just going to cancel the move entirely. Let Blazor do it. Do its thing. Sure, why not? Strange tone it took there.
Yes.
Very hip. Okay, so the only thing, like, I don't understand why there isn't an API in sortable that's just like cancel.
Yeah. They cannot conceive of why you wouldn't want. Actually, they do. Don't they have something where you can? That's weird.
There's got to be. Let me go to their issues and see if there's a cancel. How do you canceling sorting when dropped outside? How to cancel sort in one container? You just want to prevent the on-end event from firing? There's no answer here. It'd probably be under closed if it was resolved. How to disable sorting? Stop propagation? No. Canceling the move. Not Aurelia? Wow, that's a throwback.
Yeah.
There's no... That doesn't seem right. Set data.
I wonder if you could just override the on-end event. Set the on-end event to be not a thing.
But if it's not a thing, the event's still going to fire, right? But the library is not going to do anything.
Yeah. I mean, the code you've got works.
It does, yeah. And Steve already looked at this. If there was a way to do it, he would have done it. Okay. So now all of this should just work. TM. 2.com. 3.com. 4.com. Let's drop it. And it works.
Beautiful.
Right. Because Blazor is now handling everything. And if we publish this, it won't publish, but we can actually inspect what it's trying to do and just make sure that it's sending. I haven't added it to the. I haven't made the update to add it to the payload yet. And it's actually not doing anything at all. But yeah. All right, so that's it, y'all.
Nice. Okay.
Pretty sure. I mean, that's all we have to do, and we have a sortable list in Blazor.
Let's go back. Okay, so this is the JavaScript handling. This is when Blazor calls it. What did you do again in where the majority of your code here is in sortable list, huh?
Sortable list, yeah. So let's recap what we did.
Yeah.
We created a new component called sortable list. And in that sortable list, we have a parameter that we're passing in, which is the items that the thing's going to iterate over. That's this. And then inside of that, we have this wrapper. So we wrap each item, we add an ID to it for Blazor, right? So they can track the items as they're moved around. And then here, we have a render fragment, which is sortable item. And what this allows us to do is pass literally anything as the body that gets shown here.
Yep.
Any HTML, we can pass another Blazor component, which is actually what we're doing. And then after the first render, we call that sortable, initialize it on the list, and we pass a reference to this component. And then from the sortable, once it does its thing, right, it invokes this method via the JS runtime that Blazor provides. And then this method right here gets executed. This drop.
Okay. And the drop does it if it inserts if it's below.
That's right.
It adds
and then the drop calls the reorder, which happens in the state container.
Okay.
Which is pretty straightforward. The only thing is this edge case of moving it to the end.
And then we still have to do the work to save it?
Yes.
The post.
Yeah. So if you go to, that would be in the nav bar? No, in the new link here on valid submit. Right?
It actually needs to call the API.
Yeah, and actually, we should do something else while we're here. So one of the things that's annoying in this application currently is that when you add in, this is the other thing I was asking Steve about. When you add in, you have to keep putting your mouse here.
Oh, right. It's not setting focus.
Yeah, we want to just set the focus back. So to do that, you should be able to, like, this is the way this should work, is that you add a ref here, right? Which is like, no, not here, but on this thing.
Yeah.
Let me just make sure I'm doing this correctly. Yeah, so he called it. We're adding a ref here. What is the problem?
New link.
Oh, yeah, we haven't done anything with it yet. So then
on valid submit, you set that.
Yeah, we actually need a right. We need this. You need to declare this ref. There we go. And then we want to set. What we want to do is. Link input. Get the element, right? Value of that.
Oh, we got to
set the focus. Focus async.
We're already clearing it somewhere.
Here. This actually will mess the whole thing up. So if we do this, it won't work at all.
Because it's already
this really bizarre way, or it's like you're like, why does that not work? It's just
Right.
setting focus. And the reason is because we're setting the model equal to new. And so it's like clearing out this form
Right.
and redoing it. And so instead he's like, it's just a string. So just set it to null so it doesn't redraw that form.
Okay.
Apparently. And then it's just like one.com. Oh, it didn't refresh. Now this should work theoretically. Uh-oh. It does have a model parameter. What did I do wrong?
Not a fan.
Oh. He did. No, this is right. Parameter on new link added. Task. On valid submit. Oh. This is quite interesting. Instead of this, right? I don't even know why that's there. We're doing this because we should be calling this await on new link added. Right? Oh, it's setting the URL to null. If you set the model to null, it does.
Oh, okay. And that's the only thing we're using in that model at this point is
Yeah,
just
that's it. Yeah, see? Look at that. That's what we want.
Nice.
Right. And actually our model is just, yeah, all we're using is the URL. So, and that's all we'll ever have there.
Yeah.
So that's it. I mean, we've fixed two pretty major, I would call these major issues. They're not major. They're just like,
well, they're
important.
Yeah, that's fundamental. Now I feel like this is a big kind of thing to clear because now we're at the point where we've got a list, it's editable. And now we're at the like, I really like it's going to be so pretty when we get the open graph. And then we've got the user stuff to save. We've got some state things.
I just want to add one more thing here.
You want to?
Yeah, we're close. In fact, the open graph, I'd love to do that next if we can. But I just want to try.
I had to relearn
will it restrict
lesson with cores. I was really like, oh, Blazor could totally do the open graph stuff, but it cannot because it's blocked by cores. It needs to be done on the server.
So will this work? Will it restrict it to just a vertical drag? That would make me so happy. No.
You want to block it from?
No. Yeah, I don't want it. I don't people to be able to drag horizontally. But that is not in the cards for us. Direction vertical, right? That's what it said here. Direction horizontal.
How did you do it before? Or did you?
It's a different component. I don't think sortable actually supports this. I'm pretty sure I looked into it. Yeah, that's okay. All right. We got to end this thing. We got to land this plane.
All right. Yep. So we should merge Steve's pull request, give him some credit.
Exactly. So we're just going to dump all this.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we'll just commit it all and then we'll kill the branch. We don't want to lose all our work just in case Steve's branch doesn't work somehow. That's bother him again. Steve, stop what you're doing. Solve my Blazor problems. Not yet. So let's do, this is Steve's. Everything's already been committed.
It'd be great to make like a component out of this because other people could use this in other places. And it's
totally. Yeah, I think this is the kind of thing a lot of people would want to do. So it's actually already in there. Look, it looks like as a pull request. I think I updated it though. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So let's know what kind of guy Steve is. I've never met him in person, but hopefully he likes hearts and people telling him that we love him.
Steve is great.
All right.
So, I mean, he that was so nice. He jumped in. Like we pinged him Wednesday and like Thursday morning because he's over in the UK. Woke up to like, okay, I did all this stuff, looked at everything. Like he jumped right in.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I mean, his level of knowledge on this stuff is just crazy, right? Like it was so fast. Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, that's why this is happening. All right, so we should be building now. Let's go look at our board. What? GitHub. Okay. So this action should be running. Oh, what? It's
what?
Didn't I just
merge it? Merged and closed. Did it already? I think it had already run. So maybe it's a very quick merge because it already runs the stuff on the.
No. What is happening? I mean, I can kick off. Did I not merge it to main?
Oh, he made a pull request to your pull request, maybe?
I should have paid more attention to this.
See, look at that head. Yeah. My goodness.
Merged to Burke, Holland, sortable.
Burke, Holland. So you got to merge your sortable.
Which
so
is
if you
not...
go into, see that right there? It's trying to tell you.
Here we go.
Whew.
We should probably let it build though, huh?
Sure.
Let it build.
Okay, well, while it's doing that, you could open up the project. Did we not have a thing for drag and drop? Beautiful. Dang. So for next time, I mean, their save lists is definitely a thing, an open graph.
Yeah, I think save lists and open graph in this order.
Yep. Okay.
I'm putting this over here. I don't even like that.
as part of save list, as part of save list too, we can integrate because now the list has an owner. So that's a thing too.
All right, so let's see. Yo, take me back. Take me back.
That's an interesting thing. It's actually the project is in a different. It's not in the project is not in the repository.
It's just associated. It's at the, I guess it's at the org level, and it's just associated with this repository.
That's very fancy.
Just want to make sure all this works.
Still building.
What's my status? What's the stat eye?
I love these actions.
I know, it's so great, man. I mean, this is the best part of these new.
I wrote this whole thing for the .NET blog where it validates and it creates these like huge, hopefully not huge, but like it creates these comments. I use OctaKit and it creates all these comments on the thing with like, you need to fix this, you should check this.
That's very cool.
Yeah, we can't.
Yeah, the automation, man.
Yeah.
When I was a developer, we did not, well, like when I was a real developer, we did not, this was not a thing.
No. Finished upload. It's deployed.
It's polling. Hold on.
Polling on deployment.
It's got to give us our.
Right? Kind of funny how they do it.
Yeah, here we go. Victorious Forest.
I know.
Oh, whoa. I need the. Oh, actually, it should just give it to us in the PR. One sec.
Is Forest with 2 R's? Forest.
It doesn't just. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, just because it adds a comment. And if you remember, the login should work.
It's so cool.
I got to do it on my personal. I just want to make sure everything's still working, man.
Failed dependency. Oh, so
see,
we're back to
see,
this
is exactly why we did this.
Exactly. We didn't trust this. Those guys. So yeah, actually, I saw this in the docs recently. They're kind of like, good luck.
I gotta verify.
Get that 2FA.
That's right. Or you do, chat. I got to before you did. Yeah.
Yay. Okay. So now
it's working. And now, well, I feel like it's not working. Oh yeah, it is. Okay. Now. Let's go.
Okay, come on. Okay, this is cool.
All right, so now we can safely merge this. I think. Where's the GitHub repo go? I think I just clicked away from it. All right, that's it, John.
That's it. Okay. So I guess we're back next week, and then things start getting more holiday-ish.
Yeah, next week is all you. You're doing
some sort of API business.
Some sort of something. All right. Stop. How do I stop sharing? Stop. There we go.
Just like that. And then we go like this. Cool.
Boom.
All right. Happy Friday. Thanks, everybody. This is fun. I guess I'm writing some code next week.
Bye, chat. Have a good weekend.
Goodbye. Thanks for watching.